2, 1. So you tossed the coin 20 times and got only 1 heads with the rest as tails. Question part A, is this possible? Yes, it definitely is possible. So that can happen. Okay, that you would only have 1 heads. Now for part B, so if you did this kind of experiment, okay, what would it be? Subjective, empirical, or theoretical? Well, if you've actually tossed the coins 20 times and that's what you've observed, then this would have been empirical. So B would have been empirical. Now, if, on the other hand, you didn't do any tossings yet, right, and you were just wondering, okay, what would have been the probability of getting 1 head in, 20, and then that would have been theoretical. Okay, so you have to be careful there. But since you've tossed them, it was empirical. Now, for part C, it says, what is the probability of this happening? Well, so if you haven't run the experiment, and that's what we're going to assume, so we're going to try to calculate the theoretical, result, without running an experiment. So this is actually a pretty neat question. So what it says is, so you have a coin within here, and, so you have this coin. I'm going to kind of duplicate this. And what you're doing is, so you're doing this. So this is your toss number 1, toss number 2, toss number 3, all the way up to toss number 20. So what's the probability of just tossing, coins 20 times and then receiving a heads only once? So that's kind of neat. So first of all, the probability, would have been, and this is going to be a little painful, but not really. So imagine we tossed it and we had a head, on the first try. Then what we would have had to have on all the other tries, is basically tails. All right, so this is one possibility of getting a head, right? Now another possibility would have been, tails and then getting a heads on the second try, and then everything else is also tails. And of course we can, then we would have tails and then heads, and then the rest would have been tails. Okay, so that's what we had. So these heads, we're kind of going along this way, and then the tails, are going in this way, all the way, down like this. So there's really 20 possibilities that can happen. So you either toss the head on the first try, you toss the head on the second try, or the third, and so on. Now, all of these tries are equal probable. So all of these tries are equal probable. So let's calculate one of these. What's the probability, all right, of this happening? Well, the probability is 1/2, and then times, 1/2 for the tails, 1/2 for the tails, and of course this is 20 times. So you notice that here this is pretty crazy, because we have to multiply all of these. Now we have 20 of them, so that's what it's going to be. 1/2 to the power of 20. That's the probability of this happening. But this, we are having it. So heads could have been second, heads could have been third, fourth, and so on, all the way up to 20. So we have 20 of these possibilities right here. So this is what we have. All right, so that's how we can calculate, and then we would get our answer. Now, when you do this, the probability is still going to be very tiny. All right, so for all of these. So even if you were adding all of those up or multiplying it by 20, it still would have been tiny, but that's your answer. Okay, so now let's do that. So if I do that, so let's say I would get 20 times, and now it's 0.5 because it's 1/2 to the power of 20, and you're going to see that it's very tiny. All right, so that's what this is. But now don't forget, so the answer is multiplied by 100 because it's in percent. Okay, so our overall is 0.001, let's say 9. I'm going to round it there. That's the probability of getting one head on your 20 tosses. Okay, so that's interesting. And that finishes this example. All right, so see you in another one. Okay, bye everybody.